Hey, good morning, everybody. Hope everybody's having a good day. So we were talking last night, and we figured we'd better kind of go through a room for you real quick, for you people that are new and have very little exposure to any type of x-ray machine. This is the one that we primarily use at Sterling Urgent Care. It's actually a tower machine. A single arm tower machine, so everything is contained within this x-ray machine. Okay, everything works along with each part. There isn't anything that's independent at all. So what you gain with that is it's user friendly. There's less moving parts. It does have some limitations, however, but today I'm going to kind of show you how the buttons work and what the buttons are, so you have an idea of how to move this machine around. And feel free to go into your x-ray room, whatever clinic you're at, and play around with the machine a little bit. Get familiar with the buttons and what they do. Okay, so this is a Paxis 100 x-ray machine. It's made by Posh. Pretty popular machine out these days. Like I say, it's a single arm machine, so the actual x-ray tube, which is this part right here, the x-ray tube is within that cylinder right there. Collimator hangs off the bottom of the tube. This is where your light comes out, and you're able to, these knobs right here, this opens and closes your collimator light. So wherever your collimator light is open to, that is the area you're going to be exposing. There are numbers here, and I don't personally worry too much about the numbers because I always just collimate to the body part. But this is all in inches, so if you go 17 by 10, that means that you're open 17 by 10 or 10 by 12. Okay, all this technology and the light won't stay on, right? Okay, so we're 10 or 12 inches tall by 10 inches wide. Okay, that's what those numbers are for. And if you want to go by numbers, that's okay. If your book tells you to go to a 14 by 17, you're going to go 17 by 14. Sorry, 17 by this 14. There's a 17 by 14. Okay, don't let the numbers confuse you though. If you get into the habit of just collimating to the body part, you're going to be good. But anyway, that's what this is the collimator box. Okay, we've got 6 buttons up here. This is to move your machine around, and they're pretty self-explanatory. So the top row, that moves your entire machine up and down. Okay, and if we're doing a chest x-ray, this is going to rotate your machine, and it'll rotate all the way down to where it is perpendicular to the floor. It does have an automatic stop at 90 degrees, so it'll stop there automatically. Okay. When we shoot a chest x-ray or a lateral C-spine or something like that, we're going to go out to 72 inches. Okay, and that's what these bottom 2 buttons are for, is to bring your tube out and back in. Okay. Now you'll note, sorry, I'll try and stay out of the way, this number guard right here, that tells you how many inches your SID is. So right there, we're at 54 inches. Now for a chest x-ray, we're going to be at 72 inches, so we're going to go out here, and it automatically stops at 72 inches. Okay? This little dial right here, this just tells you where your machine is angled at. So we are angled at 90 degrees, okay? And that comes in handy when you're shooting x-rays that do need tube angulation. You're gonna run into using that. So our collimators are not automatic. They don't automatically collimate, so you always have to collimate to the body part, okay? Okay, so let's move back into 40 inches. And I'll show you kind of how to use the table on this machine. So there's an automatic stop at 40 and an automatic stop at 72. Now this machine has to be at a certain height for it to turn, So if you come in here and your machine won't angle back, just bring it up or down until it will, okay? That's a good point there. Okay, another button we have up here is your on and off button. You won't be using that very often at all. This is the emergency stop. Be careful with that button. It's very temperamental and it breaks really easily. But if you ever do need to turn off your machine in a hurry, just hit that button. And then to release it, you just turn the knob and it'll release and you'll be able to turn your machine on again. So we do have a table that goes along with this machine. The only thing you need to remember is to bring your image receptor low enough to where you can slip your table over top of the image receptor, okay? So say we're shooting a foot or an ankle, okay? You'll put your table there, your patient's head's gonna be up here, foot, ankle down this way, or knee or whatever. So when you put your IR under there, when you get it under there, bring it up to where it touches the table, okay? You want to reduce any OID with your image receptor just for the fact that you don't want a bunch of magnification. So it's important that you bring your IR up to touch the table, okay? Now inside this image receptor, there is a grid, okay? Now a grid absorbs scatter radiation, and these should be used for anything over 10 centimeters, which is about 4 inches. So if you're shooting an abdomen, chest, pelvis, L-spine, T-spine, anything bigger like that, you absolutely have to have the grid in there. It absorbs scatter radiation from the patient, and if you don't use that grid, your image is going to be really noisy and messy. So it's important that we use the grid on those larger body parts. You know, for me, it doesn't make a lot of difference to take that out for a hand x-ray. So I tend to leave that grid in there all the time. And, you know, if you're not comfortable with that, that's okay. But you don't have to use a grid for extremity work. You don't have to. But if you want to skip the hassle of taking that in and out, it's okay if you do use the grid on extremities. But you absolutely do want it on bigger body parts, okay? So that, in a nutshell, is kind of how this system works. In our next video, we'll go into kind of how to turn the machine for angulated pictures, and we'll talk a little bit about the inner workings behind the control box. But we'll see you next time. Bye.